my little dragonettes. Welcome to the Dragon's Den. I'm your host, Jack. And right here I have my friend Luke, who we will be talking to, or I will be talking to, about gaming stuff in general. And he had kind of a setup kind of thing he wanted to talk about. So, let's see.
Well, there we go. Well, Dragonettes, as you are affectionately known, that's not the least bit creepy. I'm glad that you are here listening to us today talk about random things that have come to our minds, because I'm sure those are of great importance to you. And so really the first thing that I thought we should talk about today is decline of awesome games vis-a-vis the Lost Vikings. Now, if you all have not heard of the Lost Vikings, you're really missing out on a great travesty. Lost Vikings being one of the great platformers brought to you by a company originally known as Synergy and Synapse, which you younger people might know as Blizzard Entertainment, a la Blizzard Activision, because they got merged.
Oh, right.
So, really, what you need to do in the world is go get yourself some Lost Vikings. It's going to really just be an enlightening experience, I think, for you all to experience the joys of, Olaf and Balog and the rest as they meander about
So
the
is
universe.
Lost Vikings like a Skyrim kind of thing? Or is it
No,
third person?
so this was, before computers had power, and so Lost Vikings was I believe an NES game. I think Lost Vikings 2 was on the Super Nintendo, and so it was a side-scrolling kind of platformer, similar, you might think, to like Mario, where you're kind of jumping through levels, except you controlled three different dudes on their quest to return to their motherland. So one was kind of like a fat guy with a shield, one had a sword, and one had like a bow and arrow.
Sounds almost like the Water Girl and Fireboy, or is it Fireboy and Water Girl? Almost like that.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. It was one of the original, like, pretty good, kind of platforming games. The sequel really kind of opens it up a little bit more. It's a good thing that everyone, I think, really needs to experience at one point or another. If you need to experience the Lost Vikings in the modern era, they are available as a playable character in the current game, Heroes of the Storm, so that is an option available to you if you want to experience Blizzard's glorious multiverse in all the different ways that it does that. So yeah, I don't know. You check out some Vikings.
Any other Lost games?
Well, you know what? If we're moving forward in time just a little bit, so. In the 90s, after their success with GoldenEye, Rare Entertainment developed a series of games called Banjo-Kazooie / Banjo-Tooie being the sequel. Again, kind of a platform. It's built very similarly to Mario 64, and then it's a 3D world environment. But it's a little bit different because you control this like grizzly bear that carries a freaky parrot in his backpack, and they kind of combine to all kinds of mischief. They kind of are going up against a character very similar to the evil green witch from the
Wicked Witch of the West?
Yeah, very similar to that, yes. I think her name is like Grunhilda or Gruntilda or...
Grilda?
It's something.
That sounds familiar.
I think it's Gruntilda because I think they call it Grunty. Which is
Grunty.
Suspicious, really, all things considered.
Actually, that was one of my nicknames from Adventure Club back in middle school.
I don't know if I want to know why you're called Grunty. It seems like that might be...
It was more Grunter. And no, you don't want to know.
Is that like a fart joke? It seems like
It's a poop pun.
That's a poop
Long
pun.
story short, I didn't poop for 3 days on a canoeing trip.
That's awesome. That's very good.
Note: don't ever do that. Ever. It ends badly.
Yes, I can see how that would end badly. So Jake, tell me about your first memories of video game. What was the first video game?
First video game. Actually, I think my first
and on
video.
which system?
I'm pretty sure my first video game was Galaga.
Galaga.
Nintendo DS, like the old ones. Not like those weird 3DSs and stuff. I think they're weird because they give me headaches.
On Nintendo DS,
I mean-
referenced as the old one.
Like right after Game Boy, the one that still had the Game Boy slot and the Nintendo slot.
Well, let's talk. So you got the Game Boy, you got the Game Boy Color, you've got the Game Boy SP, which was the one that flipped and folded, the first one. But it was square, and you had the DS, which was more rectangular that
There
flipped.
you go. That one. It's
And
just
then
like
there's
the square one.
3DS, which is kind of the current.
Yeah, the first rectangular one just after the square one that you were talking about. Those ones I think are my favorite because you could get the regular, the modern
Because that
kind
one
of
still
chips.
had the old, like you could still play the old games in it, right?
Yeah, that's what I loved about it. Even better, there's some little microchips that are kind of not microchip discs.
Oh, I skipped
Whatever.
the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, where you could actually
Game Boy
download
Advance.
more games from the old games, which now that I think of it, I'm pretty sure it was illegal. Glad I didn't actually own one. I borrowed
Wink,
one.
wink.
Yeah, I borrowed one from a kid I knew when I was 9, not AKA, as in code. I stole it and gave it back 3 years later.
All right. Well, that's a good opener to the to the world of the gaming Galaga. It's kind of a classic. I mean, you've got your side by side. You get shooting. You get your stealing the ship back from the evil alien bug
Yeah,
things.
let's just hope they don't try and make a movie out of it like they tried to do with Super Mario Bros.
Now that's,
Oh my
now
God.
that's scary.
That movie was terrible. It was funny when I was a little kid, but now that I look back on it, Jesus, it's just ridiculous. They mess everything up, like the mushrooms and the Goombas. How do you mess up a 2-foot tall mushroom man and
I
turn it
don't know.
into a giant lizard dude? Like seriously, it looks like the modern day version of the lizard, like from the Amazing Spider-Man. It looks like the predecessor for that,
Yeah. So, what did you say was your second foray into the world here?
My second foray,
Yeah. Like after Galaga, what was next?
like the Sonic, the old Sonic games. It was the reboot of that with post Supersonic Wave. I forgot the name of it, where the timeline changed and they updated the graphics and stuff.
Let's talk about your experience with video games that came out before you were born.
Pac-Man was the shit.
Have you touched any of the first 3 Nintendos?
I've played with some. I even own it. I think I may have had to have gotten rid of it when I moved here to where I am now. Nintendo 64 had like the old Donkey Kong kind of racing game where you can free roam on like a boat, an airplane.
Diddy Kong Racing?
Donkey Kong. Did I say Dink? I don't know. Donkey Kong.
It was Diddy Kong Racing.
Diddy Kong?
Yeah, it was Diddy Kong. Diddy
Oh.
Kong's like one of the little junior Kongs.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Diddy
It
Kong
was-
Racing's a classic.
There's also kind of like a 3D kind of animation for Zelda. It was pretty neat.
Ocarina of
And
Time.
Rush. There's some other
Rush
games.
was a racing game, right?
No, it was about turtles in mating seasons. Yes, it was a racing
Have you seen a turtle in mating season? They can move.
Yeah, I know.
It'd be the
not the
scariest
point.
thing you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
They're very unhappy creatures.
I don't know, they look pretty happy when actually, you know what, let's stop. And that one almost got really weird. But
Mm-hmm.
shut up. Don't make me shoot you with this Nerf gun. It's unloaded anyway. Oh shoot! Is it unloaded? No. Oh, you really kill yourself with a Nerf gun?
I did shoot myself in the face the other day. It was a little awkward.
Oh man, that's funny. But what do you think about games that were old games and then they are kind of rebooted in recent years? For example, Doom. Doom and Doom 4. What do you think?
Doom. Is Doom 4 the one that just came out, or is that the one that came
Oh
out
yeah,
a
it's
couple
the
years ago?
reboot.
Was it because there was Doom 3 that came out, like 6 years ago? And then I think Doom 4 was
Doom
just
4 is the
recently.
one that was the recent one.
No, I think Doom 4 did not involve... Carmack wasn't involved in that anymore, right? John Carmack was kind of the... I think he was the guy that did Doom. The first couple.
You like,
So I'm okay with the reboot after a fashion. Sometimes they get pulled off better than others. I haven't tried the newer Dooms. It's kind of like a sacred game, I would say, and then
Oh yeah,
I
definitely.
don't know if you can really.
Not even gaming sins will go into sinning on Doom. That's not, that's kind of sacred level. Like that's like gaming blasphemy to fuck with Doom.
It is like somewhat blasphemous, but there's some series that have kind of continued through the years. Like you've got your Mortal Kombat, like 35, and Final Fantasy 200 million. And, like, there's like a new one every 6 months or something like that.
Yeah, for some things there's like a new game more often than there is a new episode in a TV show. Yeah, but Mortal Kombat. Speaking of Mortal Kombat, a lot of people say that Mortal Kombat X kind of ruined the series with the storyline. I think
server connection failed. The remote host closed the connection.
That was really weird timing with the Nerf gun and that. So
Connected.
with Mortal Kombat X, a lot of people think that it kind of ruined the storyline and stuff and screwed with it a lot. It's kind of like the Jurassic Park 3 of Mortal Kombat. I personally like it, and it kind of regenerates, gives that next generation kind of thing, which I think is a cool idea for any of the game series and stuff, especially since they're now kind of running out of ideas with things. For example, Halo 4, everybody also hated like the emotional connection between Cortana and Master Chief, but
how can you hate that?
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like, it was a good story.
Because that wasn't anything new. That was just building on what was clearly already there.
Exactly. So
there's 3 games of subtext that build up to that moment.
Yeah,
and it's really a beautiful thing. It's hard to. That just brings a tear to my eye. Really thinking about that.
Yeah, and then you see Halo 5 in that. Oh my god, Halo 5 I did not like for one reason. That was in my opinion, that's like the worst cliffhanger in the entire Halo series. In my opinion. Because, A, it was when I started playing Halo games and I was paying attention to it, so it's like the first thing I've actually had where I have to wait. So,
Baby!
Well, I didn't know about Halo. I'm going to be honest, I didn't know about Halo until like 7th grade. Like, I heard about it in elementary school, but I didn't actually look at it until like 7th grade. And then...
Yeah, so let's think. So Halo, when did the Xbox came out? So I think the Xbox came out in like October, November of 2001?
Yeah, but then there's a pre-Xbox from 1998, I believe. Which is really, really ridiculous. It looked silly because, all the graphics we have now, it looks silly. It was third person, but I thought it was kind of cool with the animals and stuff they had.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty nifty.
Because Halo was originally supposed to be a real-time strategy game. It was only later that it became the shooter. That would have been different. It would have been like StarCraft.
Yeah. So we've talked about lost games that have been rebooted. How about, since we're talking about things that have been rebooted, what about things you would like to see rebooted? I know I have a few.
That just brings us back to where we started today, Jack, and that's really with the Lost Vikings. I think if there's any franchise deserving of a reboot, I really think there could be some new blood found there. I mean, you've got platformers that are coming out today like Super Meat Boy and stuff like that. Or I think, with today's computers, there's something to be said for the simplicity of just a nice side-scrolling platformer. And I think that's something that could be appreciated in this day and age. But really a reboot that I'm excited about is the upcoming new Mario game, which isn't, I guess, a reboot. But, it's coming to a new platform. So you've got Super Mario coming to mobile phones, which, should be exciting. I feel like
that's going to be like this when Snake came to iPhone, where it's just like...
It's going to be an issue. I mean, first Pokemon Go and Super Mario.
Super Mario Go.
It's going to be a problem.
Well, at least it'll be a lot more... people will be a lot better at jumping. Soon you won't be able to say that a white boy can't jump, because all they'll be doing is jumping for Mario Go. That's funny. Yep, racism. We make fun of it. Racism, not races, just the racism stereotypes, because they're stupid. You shouldn't assume anything of anyone because of their race or gender or their religion or lack of thereof. You know, we should judge them on how much of a jerk they are. Or how much of not a jerk they are. If they're nice, like who they are. And not just like what they believe in and stuff. And what they are.
Got deep.
Not really.
It was a pivot.
But I want to see, you know what I want to see? I
What do you
want
wanna
to see
see?
like a modern reboot version of stuff like Galaga or a remastered edition of Star Wars Republic Commando. I want to see a kind of like remastered
If
thing.
you're gonna remaster Republic Commando, though, I mean, if you want to delve back into the Star Wars game, you got to consider stuff like TIE Fighter Advance. Basically, kind of one of the classics. Republic Commando could be good, though.
And I loved Commando. I absolutely loved it. It's one of my favorite Star Wars games. Period. I don't like Star Wars Battlefront though because it doesn't have a campaign at all. There's no story with it for real. And I don't like that because I can't play it and I can't really watch it with any interest because there's no story. It's just random. And it's not like Overwatch where it's funny and, you know, there's like cool graphics things. It's, you know, classic characters and stuff, like kind of races. So it's stuff we've all seen before and we see all the time in like shows, comics, movies.
Yeah,
You know,
but
unlike-
at the same time, it drops you into the world, which, you know, can always be
Yeah,
interesting.
which is also cool. It would be cooler if it was like a Skyrim, like kind of free roam thing. Then I would, then I would like it a lot more than, you know. But it's not. It's just, you know, it's almost like it's a beta. You know.
No, I mean, I think they just thought that the story wasn't really the important part in this case because the story is so well known. But, you know, they are kind of bringing in some new elements. I mean, it is kind of happening a little bit before Episode 7, so you're...
It is.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the first
Oh
matches...
yeah, because like
well,
there's Darth Vader and
the-
stuff, and Luke when he was younger. So obviously.
Yeah, it was
Sorry.
like the Battle for Jakku or whatever, and that kind of stuff, so...
Oh, you know what? Let's move on to theories.
Let's talk theories.
Who do you think Snoke is and why?
You know, I'm not up to date on the latest, but I think it would be a compelling case if I like Grand Moff Tarkin for Snoke. Pure evil, British gentleman, corrupted by 100 years of pain and suffering because, you know, his face.
Right.
So whatever it had to do to like get that face, and then all the suffering he's endured since having that face because people just think he's Ugo. But I like the Tarkin theory. Really, I like the Jar Jar Binks theory, but I think that's
You mean
a
the
little
one where
overblown.
Lucas was gonna make Jar Jar Binks the real like Dooku or Sidious or whatever? Which, by the way, would have been a perfect cover because it would explain why he's such a blundering idiot that destroys everything. You know,
Yeah, just
and he's been there
episode-
for every step of the way. With all, well, not every step, but most of
Episode
the
1
steps.
just sucked.
Yeah, it kind of did. It did. Jar Jar Binks I thought it was funny when I was a little kid, but now it's just kind of annoying with all the graphics and all that. Let's not look into that. Let's stay on theories. So,
What do you got?
I honestly, I don't think Snoke is particularly. Either he's not somebody
So you think
seen
it's
in the
original
movies,
character?
either he's an original character, or he's not the Grand Inquisitor because he's proven not to. You know, he returned to the Jedi Order or whatever. So maybe he's the son from the Star Wars The Clone Wars series. Maybe if you guys don't know who that is, he's the. I think either it was kind of like he was the embodiment of the dark side because he's like because he's kind of like the strongest one with the dark side or something like that, where he's just, you know, and he lives on the. I think it's the Jedi homeworld because isn't it the thing where the balance is like all janked up? It might be that. I don't completely understand because I haven't watched it in a while. But I think it's either him or his original character, or it's something that nobody's gonna expect. But I definitely do not think it's Mace Windu. There is no way it is Mace Windu.
Why not?
It looks nothing like him. It's an entirely different species. It's clearly an entirely different species. No amount of deformation can make him look and sound like that.
Yeah, but like he could have transferred his like essence through the Force into like this other body.
I don't think they can do that.
Mace Windu's kind of badass. You never know.
Yeah, but he also wouldn't do that. You know.
Maybe he became you.
Plus, don't. Well, he kind of died before he had the chance to become evil anyway.
All we know is he fell out a window.
Okay, that's a good point. Like, there
Without-
are rumors that
Without
he's
his,
going to come
without
back
his
in Rebels.
hands.
Yeah. But it doesn't mean he can't use the Force. You don't need...
I mean,
Darth Vader proved
Luke
that you don't...
Skywalker lost his hand.
Yeah, and Darth Vader is living proof that you don't need hands or legs.
It's fairly established in the Star Wars universe that hands are replaceable.
Yeah, and you don't need flesh and blood hands. You just need to have been alive and like have a soul or whatever. You know?
Yeah.
They use the Force at some point. Yeah. Let's see. Darth Maul is coming back in Rebels Season 2. I can't remember when it's coming out, but I think it's coming out soon, or either that or the first episode already came out. You know? Darth Maul's coming back. Like, full on. Like, they introduced him in the end of Season 1 of Star Wars Rebels. By the way, Star Wars Rebels and Star Wars The Clone Wars, those are canon.
Yeah, those aren't part of the legends. They're still canon.
Yeah. They are, like, actual canon. And they're bringing the... I think it was Grand Admiral Thrawn as the main antagonist in Season 2.
Really?
Yeah. Or is it Season 3?
I think it's Season 3. I think they've already done 2 seasons.
Yeah.
They're bringing back Thrawn.
Yeah, and he's... Which means he'll be canon now, too. I have this weird feeling that they made it all non-canon just so they can put it back in Rebels and stuff that make it canon again. I feel like they're going to start doing that, you know, because they brought back Darth Maul. They have... Now they're bringing Thrawn. They probably have a couple other things that I missed that were, you know, in the Legends and, you know, that are brought into Rebels and made canon.
Sure. No, you know, that makes sense. It's an interesting time. I mean, we'll have to see how things go.
Oh, and who do you think Rey's parents are? I'm thinking Luke Skywalker. Why else would she inherit his lightsaber? Why would the lightsaber call out to her if it wasn't, you know, if she wasn't related? It wouldn't make sense, right? Like, because if it were like that, why not, like, well, I guess I could see why I would do that without her being related to Luke, because, you know, hey, take me to my master kind of deal.
Well, so I think, though, it's not Luke's lightsaber, it's Anakin's lightsaber.
Yeah, but then it went down to Luke, and then
I know, but
it's
so...
it's kind of like a cursed blade almost, you know?
it is almost like a cursed blade.
Because every time somebody gets that lightsaber, something really crappy happens, you know? I mean, by really crappy, that's a real understatement.
Yeah, like everybody dies.
Yeah, like all the Jedi die every time somebody owns that lightsaber.
That lightsaber's still soaked in youngling blood.
Yeah. 2 sets. Because, like, oh no, actually, no, Kylo Ren used his own lightsaber. Never mind. Sorry.
It's
But
true.
still, it was, you know, it would be a cool concept if the Kyber crystals within the lightsabers were alive, or living beings, kind of like the gems from Steven Universe, if they were actual living beings, which would explain why they only show themselves to specific Jedi and stuff, you know, like Force connection kind of deal.
Yeah, that could be.
That would be so cool. Unless it was like an annoying dude with a Brooklyn or Bronx accent that talked a lot of crap.
Not a lot of Bronx accents in the Star Wars universe. So
I know, but it would be kind of like Ant-Man's AI Tony. The guy's Luke, huh? You know, like talking a bunch of crap. Then it would be like, no, just bring back Jar Jar. No, I'm just kidding. Nothing is worth that.
That's getting serious.
No, I'm just kidding. I'd rather have a Bronx lightsaber than Jar Jar Binks again. I wonder what happened to Jar Jar.
It's dead.
How did he die?
All the fans came and murdered him and trampled him in his
You know,
sleep.
let's just say, how did he die? Yes.
How did he die? Yes.
There we go. That's a good explanation. It's good enough for me, anyway.
Good enough for me, anyway.
Yeah. So let's see. Video games, movie. Oh yeah. Speaking of bad movies, what are the 3 disgraces of famous franchises or movie series that you can think of?
As far as disgraces, you've got, some of them we've already touched on. Star Wars Episode 1, Jurassic Park 3.
Yeah.
But if we want to venture out from there, I think you can look at, Some of the X-Men movies, like the first couple, like Wolverine movies, were a little like
Origins
mm-hmm.
screwed over Deadpool so much.
That was a travesty, but you know what? Thanks to that, we got real Deadpool, and
Yeah,
and that's a plus. You've got some of the early Marvel movies are just really bad.
Like the
Like
Incredible Hulk movies. All of those were
everything
so
that
bad.
happened before Iron Man is just really bad.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like Daredevil, Elektra. Personally, this is an unpopular opinion, but I think all the Spider-Man movies sucked.
Yeah, I feel like the old, like
Tobey Maguire or whatever.
all the ones that we've seen so far, the first three that everybody knows from like the really early 2000s, they were well graphics and stuff, but they only got the Peter Parker side of Spider-Man. They didn't get the Spider-Man of Spider-Man, if that makes sense. You know, the personality for Spider-Man that people all know and love now because they fixed all that after the 90s fiasco where they made him look like Batman. I mean, the dude, like, they literally swapped the physiques for Batman and Superman. Like, the Batman animated series, he was, like thin as hell. He was, like, basically the same, like, muscularness as the Joker.
You talking about, like, Batman Forever?
Batman animated series, you know, like, with the one where they did the first Justice League thing, that one that, you know, that type deal. And then Spider-Man looks like my mom. But a guy, like, he's almost as ripped as my mom, which is ridiculous. You know, like, that's a lot of muscle. That's ridiculous. He's so bulky. He's supposed to be, like, this lanky, like, you know, it's, like, so dramatic and stuff. Like, I know there's a bunch of crap that happens, but he doesn't, in my opinion, then he didn't say enough jokes. But back to the movies, you know, and then the Amazing Spider-Man series, though, they got the Spider-Man side. He aced that, in my opinion. Almost, you know. Actually, it's more like a B plus.
Okay.
You know, B plus plus. No, just kidding. But he didn't really get the Peter Parker right.
Well, and you know what? And that was here, and now it's gone. I mean, those are done.
Yeah, but now Homecoming's coming out. It's coming up real fast. Spider-Man Homecoming with this new guy. I can't remember his name, but it looks really good. It has the small eyes back and the small spider.
Did they do?
Honestly, I do like the big
guy. What's that? No,
from the Civil War movie. It's gonna be the Spider-Man from that.
What's that British guy? Isn't it?
A British guy for Spider-Man. What a great idea.
Well, I mean, we do British guys for everybody else. We got British Batman, British Superman. Like, all the great American heroes are now British. You got Henry
Yeah, but
Cavill,
Spider-Man's Spider-Man. Like, you can't mess with Spider-Man. I don't care what anybody thinks. Spider-Man is literally the embodiment of the purest form of superhero belief. Without compromise. Without, you know, fail. Like, he does not compromise. He doesn't kill. He doesn't pick up a gun. Or any of that. Well, he may have earlier on. Usually if somebody's possessing his body or pretending to be him. Generally, he does, you know, like, he doesn't kill, at least on purpose. You know, he saves super villains, unlike Batman, who left Ra's al Ghul on a freaking train to explode, which caused a crap ton of stuff. And I'm talking about cinematic universe when I say that, Christian Bale.
British.
Yeah. But, you know, like, Spider-Man, you know, the responsibility, power thing, he doesn't abuse his power, he doesn't break bones, and, like, you know, he doesn't do the Batman interrogating, he doesn't use fear, he uses his skills and abilities, and he's, you know.
Let's talk about, let's shift here a little bit. Tell me about your feelings on the recent happenings in Hollywood. Brangelina.
Brangelina?
Does it cause you to cry at night?
What's Brangelina again?
Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie.
Oh, you mean...
Marriage over. She's back on the market.
I did not know about that. I'm sort of a hermit. I don't keep up with stuff like that at all, ever, period.
So it's a non-factor in your life.
Yeah. Plus, I don't really care at all. Even if I did know, you know, it's, oh, they got divorced.
Well, in process, you never know.
You know, yeah, you know, it's like, unless it's like a friend of mine or a family member, I generally don't, if I don't know them, I generally don't care. unless it's like really bad or something. It's like really messed up. I'm like, oh, and I get to talk to them. Like if I don't even get to see them or talk to them at all, so it's a famous person. It's like, dude, you got a crap ton of money. You probably got like 15 houses in the block. I don't care. You know. I know it sounds mean, but I just really don't care.
Yeah, well, everyone's entitled to their opinion.
Yeah.
All right, well, Dragonettes, it's been real. It's been a privilege to be your cohorts here this evening. And now we must go stuff our faces. The American pastime.
Yep. No, I thought I was drinking beer and stuffing your faces while holding a shotgun while the eagle flies over your head.
While watching baseball.
Yes. With Pornhub on the side screen.
There you go.
Yep. Well, it's time to say goodbye, Dragonettes. See you next time.